the impermeable. The impermeable with S is a retrospective way, a kind of retrospective. Every impermeable is an artwork and an exhibition space. When you have a certain number of them, this is in 2002 in Vejle Kunst Museum, it constitutes a kind of retrospective. Every impermeable is an exhibition in itself. There is an outside, there is leaves, there is border. You can look from the inside to the outside. You have an inside that asks for visa. It's a total exhibition space. Like a gallery or a museum, there is a corridor, doors, corners, round, large space, more visible space, backstage. So the whole coat I call an impermeable because also it's the idea of being impermeable, to be also impermeable to empathy, impermeable to feeling, impermeable to the other. How are we separate from the other? The coat is a metaphor of this. This was exhibited in 2002 in a Vejle Kunst Museum in Denmark in an exhibition curated by Khaled Ramadan for NIFCA. Earlier on, 1995, I show those coats, some of them, in the Photographics Gallery in a solo show I had then in Denmark. They were shown in a different way, hanging, but they were still asking visa to be seen inside. This is Photo Face, photo festival in 1995 in Scotland, in Edinburgh, organized by Alastair Foster, and I got a space of a room where I was sleeping at the French Institute. My room was my exhibition, and I separate the space in two. Inside my room, people could only come if they had visa, moving exhibition visa. They could see the outside, and they could also see the exhibition on the window, which was about blue helmets and more oriented to the street, so people could see them from also the outside space. So they were inside, but they were also a kind of public space. Here, the impermeables are shown hanging, and in the background you can see some of my room. It's another view. So I was sleeping there for the whole period of the Biennale. It was a Biennale's project. The Biennale was about photography, so I expressed about a lot of different aspects of photography, especially the idea of private public exhibitionism, and also something also about surveillance and camera. Here, this is some people that got a visa. They could come in the room, and once they were in the room, they could see under my bed. They could see all kind of picture or paper or notes or whatever. They could be in my private sphere and basically access more than the other visitors that could not come inside. They could also try the code. They could also try to go watch from the inside to the outside. They could see the border where I closed my bottom. They could look in my suitcase, like here you can see from the inside to the outside. I had an exhibition from the inside to the outside. You could view. In 2003, this is exhibition in the Sparbasser Gallery, headquarters Sparbasser, where it's again curated by Khaled Ramadan. It's the same one than in Vejle, but some time later, where I show the film from Capitaine, the television series, but I also show some of the codes. So you can see, and on the street, the A4 paper turn to the street where a measurement of the cultural distance. This was visible from the passerby. Yes, these codes, these impermeables, were used for public appearance. Sometimes in the metro in Paris, people could see in the elevator, they could see the outside of my coat. I will use them also to go to art place, and also I will use them in my television program. This could make us think about the wooden door this could make us think about étant donné the Marcel Duchamp piece. And here I'm looking, trying to see the inside of the house, private inside of the house of a Danish person. I wear a coat, and this coat is also a total exhibition. But I'm a character on the camera. I'm getting film to do this. But no matter what, the impermeable is an artwork in itself. I just carry it. People can study them later. Why did I use this one? Where I was doing this about grass from inside and grass from outside. There were a bit of homage, also the quote to Daniel Buren, which was opened my eyes about this idea of what is inside, outside, and how we travel or do passage from one to the other. This film is about measuring how Danish people make borders with flag, and here I'm taking grass from the outside. I'm also taking grass from the inside in a previous still. You can see I have a coat, an impermeable, but also I'm wearing a t-shirt. So every time I will have a new story, I will change those t-shirts and have also an exhibition on the t-shirts. So here is one more shot with impermeable. Here's a blind man also thinking about the Marcel Duchamp publication. I'm a blind man in the street of Copenhagen with a painted stock. And then I also wear a t-shirt and an impermeable also as a total gallery. Here I try to be invited inside the house of the Danish. And also you can see there is also an exhibition on my rucksack. But let's speak about impermeable. This one is about can you see me? I'm wearing a pink helmet, painted helmet from the Second World War. And then I'm also wearing impermeable. How can I be invisible from the oculist witness? So here I do the experiment of being visible. It's a film. Can you see me? Where I have paint on my coat. Look at me. Can you see me? So these different shot stills from this TV program Capitaine. Here it's a bride, the passage from the Virgin to a bride, where I carry also a kind of retrospective on a pink carton and some picture where I do a kind of retrospective. I'm carrying that, but also I'm carrying an impermeable, which is also an exhibition. Here I'm looking at some bathroom and toilets, asking myself telling myself that art, it's called Utstilling, exhibition art was all over the city. This is an example of what people can see if they follow me in the street. This impermeable was dedicated to the work on Look and Buy, which was insertion in some annonce newspaper. So here you have the fontaine, the pissoir, and here you have the conclusionism in the birthday section of Politiken. So this is what you could see from the inside, but I had also some exhibition in my pocket and inside the curtain. So, but this was very public. I also use this impermeable to do this project about carte de presse in Venice. So I go around with these impermeable, which are still exhibition and exhibition space. One of these impermeable was shown in the Roskilde Museum, curated by Morten Søndergaard. And here, with two videos, I show how I construct this impermeable and how I confront it to an audience at the Venice Biennale during a Biennalist project then. The first Biennalist project. Here is Morten Fries looking from the inside of the coat to the outside. Here it's a portfolio viewing in Copenhagen where artists had to pay to meet some curator in order to show them their portfolio. It's called, I think, portfolio viewing. Here I have a meeting with the Swedish Norwegian curator called Hanne Holm Johansson. And then I'm showing her the inside of my coat and my t-shirt. She had a previous visa from before. I have also a suitcase that was also bit like the impermeable. The impermeable, the suitcase, have similar exhibition space, but there is more. I mean, an impermeable has more rooms and more traveling. What is inside and outside. The suitcase is more something that can hold things, contain things. So this is part of the project in '96 where I show my portfolio to some curator that will do that in exchange of payment by the artist. The artist has to pay to show their things. It's something quite normal in the photo world or in the photo industry, art industry. Here I show her the outside of my coat, so I take my coat so she can see better what is in my bag. She doesn't have a visa, so I don't show the inside, I just show the outside. The coat could be easily photocopy. So if I wanted to make a catalog of the coat, I would put the coat on a photocopy machine and then photocopy it. You can see it's exhibition at the Sprengel Museum in 2002, a solo show curated by Inke Schube. And then this is part of the wall where I show a story about the impermeable. You can see this is a catalog of one at the bottom, and this is another piece of the impermeable. This is a story about the impermeable and the Danish bishops. Here you can see this is one impermeable in a photographic museum. So it's a group show. It's among other artists that have framework, photo frame, and then my artwork basically is one of my coat that I have been wearing previously. Very good. Let's say a story was made for the Danish television about this piece at the Photographic Museum in Odense in Brands with a presentation by the museum director Finn Tran. Here it's from my book Stratégie d'existence, published in 1996, where I explain how this impermeable is working. It is a moving exhibition. It is a moving exhibition de type vagabond. And then I explain this idea of visa. People to access my impermeable need a visa. This is another page of this book, Stratégie d'existence, where I explain the story of the visa for the impermeable, but also the visa for the suitcase, an exhibition I had for 3 years at the library, the Royal Library of Art. Here you can see the artwork I printed. I put back the Duchamp fontaine in among other banal objects you could buy in look and buy newspaper. Kikoke means look and buy. Then this intervention I will do inside that selling newspaper. I will also be a print in the back of my impermeable. Stine Herholdt from the Arken Museum of Art in Denmark wrote a small text for the exhibition you saw at the beginning in the Vejle Kunst Museum with all the codes.